Yo, yo. What up? What up? Yo. What up? What up? Hey. Hey, welcome. Welcome to Benny's crib. What up? Yeah, just leave your shoes over there. It's cool. Yeah, thanks. Does that sound cool? Yo, what up? Welcome to Benny's crib. For the main. As you know, it is another beautiful night. It's a pretty average temperature summer night with a beautiful sunset. And we're here at Benny's crib. We got a 207 DJ, a Portland-based DJ, purveyor of the dance, setter of the vibes, as the youngins say, ambassador of the musical energy. We got the young DJ, Tylord. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. We've had some fun, enjoyed ourselves, reminisced, caught up before we hit record. Now we got some tea, just to contextualize. Tristan even has tea in the background as we all cheers ourselves.
Shout out Tristan.
Shout out Tristan too. And Tylord and Tristan knew each other from a previous encounter. Actually, how did y'all know each other again?
Oh, we used to valet cars.
There you go. Look at this. We're already rekindling friendships here. Last episode, I actually joked with the guest that we had his friend. Remember how I said I had Crabman's friend behind the bathroom door, Tristan? We were gonna bring him out. So I had like a fake reunion last episode, and now we had a real reunion this episode. So I'm gonna say this: we're all gonna get $500,000 in a fully legal way with no strings attached, hypothetically.
Boom.
So let's see what happens next episode. We're feeling good.
Wait, can you bring me back?
Yeah, Tyler will have to be here. Have to be here. Because it's not going to work. Well, I guess Crabman isn't here. So I'm sorry, I don't think you can be here. If you want to get it, you can't be here. That's how the universe is balancing it out. I want to drink some of this motherfucking tea. Is your tea hot? I haven't tried mine yet.
It's good.
Too hot?
It's perfect.
Oh, perfect. I'm going to take some motherfucking sips real quick. There we go. You need that tea to really kick you in the throat and start things. Speaking of starting things, Tylord, I want to ask you a question that I ask everybody to start this podcast off. What is your first memory of hip hop?
I mean, it was like, it's always like, since I was a child, like day one, my mom that's all we listened to. Lauryn Hill, the Fugees, Slick Rick, Biggie, like I was born in 92, so all of the like golden era hip hop artists. So yeah, it's always been there.
Yeah, in your family since before you were born.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's the first question I really like to ask everybody, just to kind of bookend and start the podcast in the same way. Because I do the same first and last question.
Gotcha.
So we'll get to the last one in many, many minutes, but we got some fun stuff to talk about. You got some shows coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday to be exact.
Yes,
we'll get
sir.
more on that towards the end of the podcast too, but we want to get some promo in for that for sure. And before we talk about some highlights of the present and potential wishes for the future, let's start in the beginning. I want to ask you, with as much as you want to indulge on, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I'm from Saco, Maine. I mean, I moved around a lot growing up, like town to town up until I think like third grade in elementary school, but I say Saco because that's where I've been since then.
All in Maine, or did you ever dip out of the state?
I lived with my dad in Georgia for probably 6 months, maybe almost a year.
Do you remember it, or are you too young?
Oh no, I remember. I was a junior in high school.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely remember that.
Yeah, it was culture shock. It was very different. He lives in Athens, where like UGA is.
Oh yeah, huge college, southern town is much different than Saco, Maine.
Yeah, very different. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I go back there to visit a lot, but going to schools in Maine and then going there is a very big difference.
Did you graduate back in Maine?
Yeah, I came back and finished my senior year here.
Word. What school? I'm from Old Orchard. Old Orchard and Saco are very close. Back in the day, there was maybe some, teenage high school rivalry between OOBHS and Thornton Academy, or as my friends like to call it, Old Orchard Beach Academy and Thornton High School. We switched them up.
Yeah.
But that's the past. We're not here to bring up bullshit mascot, Southern Maine dumb shit. I'm here to show love to the fact that we grew up in neighboring towns for the most part.
Indeed.
Same institutions, man. You probably getting that. I'm guessing you getting Rapid Rays.
Oh yeah, I mean that was like 2 blocks from my house, so that was a.
I already know.
That was a stop.
We'll get to this character later too, but the dear homie, the talented B all obviously.
Yes.
And Tylord grew up together. Tylord, B and I are pretty tight. We've done a lot of fun things together, and we all like a lot of the same food. So I believe he talked about Rapid Rays on his episode too. So it's no surprise that you bring that up as well. I'm trying to shout out other like places I ate a lot at when I was younger. George's Subs in Biddeford, I ate a good amount.
Yeah, that place was really good. I mean, I always used to get the OB classics, pear fries.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and Bill's.
I like Rocco's. I think in terms of taste, I think a little more than Bill's to be straight.
Really.
I love.
I mean,
Rocco's.
it's been honestly like I definitely fucked with Rocco's, but
Yeah.
it's been a long time.
I like all pizza though. Don't get me wrong. Like I'll eat, bro. I'll get high and eat. One of those frozen. I don't want to get hate for this, but I might for certain people. Cauliflower crust like pizza if I'm
Yo, respect.
And then I'll get greasy though, and go and get a slice of Rocco's or 2 downtown too. Like you gotta hit all sides of the spectrum. And for those who know about Southern Maine OOB pizza culture, there was a spot called Roma's Pizzeria right on the top of the hill. If you're driving down it, it was on the right side. If you're walking up it, it's on the left. And I don't know why I switched driving and walking, but who cares? Regardless, I think they moved to Kennebunkport or some shit. But I want to say from 2008-ish era to 2013, 14-ish era that they were there. They had a little hole in the wall joint, bro. Man.
I don't know if I remember them, honestly.
They had a barbecue chicken where they like would almost cut the chicken in the cutlets and put it on top of the pizza and have a really like good sauce, really good like thin crust, but it was still, when you have a good thin crust, it's not too heavy to eat, so you can eat a lot of slices, but it's still stable enough to hold a bunch of toppings.
That's important.
That's a very hard balance. They did that well. They had a classic spinach and feta.
Ooh.
I think maybe a little bit of garlic, olive oil, or something on it. Just too good. And then I'm not even gonna front. I experienced the mashed potato bacon pizza first there before I'd ever had Otto's.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh shit! Like when I came to Otto's, I was like, this reminds me of Roma's. But that just again shows you that you're pretty much blinded to the information you're provided when you're growing up and your worldview experience. That's why you should never think you know everything. Because I could be like, yeah, Roma's invented this pizza, but like, bro, wait, no, Otto's has been doing this since before Roma's was even open.
I'm sure someone was doing it before Otto's.
That's even to my next point. Like, someone's always done it in a sense, right? It's like, always remember that. Well, cool. I like to touch light upon the beginning parts of the journey where we grew up and shit, because that's important to maybe just contextualize in terms of the journey and story of you as an artist and a DJ. Let's maybe talk about some interests or hobbies that you had growing up. Was there anything you spent your time doing, heavily when you started to have more free time?
I mean, I was always an athlete in school. I was like pretty big, but not very coordinated. So I went from like being like the manager of the basketball team to being on the team.
That's important. Someone has to manage the squad.
But yeah, I did that honestly like 3 seasons. That was pretty much it through high school. I played in band. I think it was middle school. I played like the clarinet and the bass clarinet. So I did have some exposure to playing music when I was younger, but that didn't really last too much once I got to high school. But yeah, I worked at Dairy Queen. It was kind of fun.
That was a hobby of yours?
I mean, making money is definitely a hobby.
That's true. We got bills to pay. Nothing's free in America, man. Except debt. You get that for free. That's a whole different. That's a good
like going swimming. Going to Salmon Falls, like doing the summer stuff. Wasn't much of a skier, snowboarder. I mean. At this age, I went a couple of times.
It's just more expensive to get into.
For sure.
You buy an inflatable and a pair of trunks, that's like $50. $50 might get you a pair of ski boot rentals.
Exactly.
Maybe, I don't even know what I'm talking about in terms of pricing. Oh, awesome. I wanted to maybe get into an important element that you already touched upon from your youth, and especially maybe in regards to having musicians in your family, or just even the impact you think it being played in your house had on you. But was music around growing up for you? Like, were you getting into being a big fan of music in terms of like searching it out like a lot as a youth? Because imagine if it's being played in your household, or like if you have any musicians in your family, I don't know. Eventually, you're gonna maybe get that spark somehow. Evidently.
For sure. Like, so my mom has a younger brother and sister. So my aunt and uncle are each, like, I think 11 and 13 years older than me.
So that's potential sibling energy.
Yeah. Like, they were really cool, and they, exposed me to a lot of music. My uncle was a computer guy, technician type guy. So he was always like setting me up with like Walkmans and like shit, and teaching me how to burn CDs. So, in addition to having people showing me music, I also was learning how to collect it and put it onto CDs that I could
LimeWire,
play.
allegedly.
Yeah, LimeWire, Kazaa.
Was he in that Napster tip?
I honestly, like, he definitely told me all about Napster, but I was too young, I feel like, at that point. But by the time I was doing it myself, there were other platforms that were probably easier. But yeah, it was definitely, something I started doing at a young age, was burning CDs and collecting music that way.
Hell yeah.
Back in the day when you had to, like, if you wanted to find a song, you had to, like, you heard it on the radio, and then you'd write down, like, the lyrics, and then, like, search for it online, like, hope you could find it.
I remember that shit. It was I think it was almost easier to find certain songs, too, back in the day, in terms of lyrics, because the internet is a little bit more regulated now. And there's more ads.
There's like a shitload more content, period.
And there's more things to sift through in order to find what you're looking for. And
Exactly.
I remember I would hear like 2 lines of a song on a commercial and try and Google it. This is like early high school days, maybe late middle school days. Because my parents didn't get a good computer. In the crib until like I was a freshman in high school. And I didn't have an iPhone or a smartphone until I was a senior, and I pretty much graduated. So I always was kind of like a little bit late even getting technology, and I still grew up in it like post. I mean, I was born in '94, so I still have like a lot of the '90s shit like that I was doing in terms of analog or more just less digital shit.
Sure.
And you'd have to Google like legit 2 lines of a song you'd hear in a commercial. Hopefully you heard it right, and then if you didn't hear it right, you had to wait till you see the commercial again to find the song, and it'd become like a game. You're like, oh shit, like that commercial's back on. I remember I did that with a couple different tracks. It's just funny to look back and like, that's how you get to do shit. Now you got Shazam, B.
Yeah.
Shazam you can literally play a song and Shazam and use Shazam at the same time. Like, they can coexist. Like, I don't know if you could do that back in the day, but now you can literally like be playing music on your phone and Shazam it at the same time. I was like, shit, like that's the future of finding music. Sample snitching, be careful out there. Hell yeah. Well, I can relate to, the, I don't know, just middle school, high school, digging through burn CD type shit. My cousins did that. I loved making burn CDs when I was a kid too. And I don't know, it's just something about like, that's almost early DJing in terms of you picking a set list. It's not like
this made me think of this. I with like a couple of my classmates, I think this must have been like 5th grade, but it was like my teacher's like birthday, and we like got together and burned a CD for her. And it had like some songs that should not have been on a CD coming from your student. It was like some Sean Paul, like Temperature, or no, maybe it wasn't that.
Get Busy.
Get Busy, that's what it was.
That's good for a teacher. You gotta give your teacher that motivation.
Like, yo,
Sean Paul's motivation.
She was probably like mortified, but also like charmed at the same time.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I bet she was like, damn.
Shout out Miss McGowan, I think. I can't remember.
Get Busy, Miss McGowan. Did you have any favorite artists that you really were captivated by as a youngin'? Anytime they dropped, you had to like go to DatPiff and get the tape and shit.
I mean, I was definitely a big Lil Wayne fan. I definitely lived on Dat Piff. I like Lil Wayne, Fabulous. I mean, like, there are some artists putting out, like, consistent stuff. I used to download, like, all, like, the Green Lantern tapes. Definitely into 50 and G Unit and all their, like, you know, stuff that, like, never came out. You know, stuff that just, like, only came out on Dat Piff.
Yeah.
I was into that shit.
Ever hear 50 Cent is the Future? That album?
Yeah, for sure.
That's like one of the ones that got him pretty big.
I was really into that.
What's that song too he had where he...
Dude, fucking Ludacris, dude. Ludacris was my shit, man.
You're talking about quintessential early 2000s mainstream rap, you know? You got Luda, you got Wheezy, you got 50. What was that 50 song too? I'm tripping. So 50 Cent, obviously everyone knows for the most part that 50 really dropped his album around the same time he got shot 9 times and I believe and survived, which is, you know, one of the most wild debut album hip hop, I think, stories ever is 50 Cent, because I think he's from
Queens,
Jamaica, Queens maybe, and he, I think, lived a pretty tough street life. It sounds like. Not that I know anything about that, but I believe that's what was leading up to this, and then he gets shot. But the wild thing is, I'm trying to find what album or what song it is. He ends up dropping 50 Cent is the Future, and then he drops a song. Oh, what the fuck is it? It's literally he insults and inserts stupid amount of rappers' names, like pisses and calls out a bunch of like a lot of people in this one song, right as he's kind of starting to get big, and then I don't know if it was tied to this or if it was another thing. But then he gets shot and shit, so it's like you can clearly tell 50 Cent did not care about pissing people off, speaking his mind, and then he ends up like getting shot at, bro, survives, and then he drops that album, man, in America, I think when 9 times platinum. 50 Cent went 9 times platinum, man. That's 9 million, yo.
It's crazy.
And we were listening to that shit, playing fucking PIMP in like middle school, thinking we were cool shit.
We used to get the bus driver at my school bus used to give us the aux cord. Bless his soul.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the morning?
Yes, in the morning.
What? That changes the dynamic of the whole day, bro.
Oh, man. I mean, sometimes he was the night, sometimes he was like, you know, the afternoon, bringing you home driver too. But yeah, that was, I mean, it didn't last that long. Like, you know, there were some ground rules, you know, no swears and stuff. But I think I played something from like the G Unit album and didn't fly.
It was just too much.
But like, yeah, that was pretty dope.
That's wild. I've never heard of that.
Paul, shout out Paul.
Oh, I think it was How to Rob. Let's see. Are you folks ready? Here we go. How to Rob. I'm reading from Wikipedia. How to Rob is a song by 50 Cent. The song serves as the lead single from his intended debut studio album, Power of the Dollar, and then that actually never got dropped as a album in terms of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't get dropped like in the timeline it wanted to. I think it got shelved because he had so much like shit around him. Because this is 99. Like 50 Cent technically could be considered a 90s rapper. He dropped this song called How to Rob. What was it called? On August 10th, 1999. This is who he calls out. And not call out in the sense of, hey, let me just mention your name. I believe he talks about like robbing these people. It's called How to Rob. Lil Kim, so then again, this is 1999, so just remember. Lil Kim, P. Diddy, Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, Brian McKnight, Keith Sweat, Mace, ODB, Corrupt, Foxy Brown, Jay-Z, Trackmasters, Slick Rick, Big Pun, Master P, Silk the Shocker, Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith, Timbaland, Missy Elliott, Joe, Jermaine Dupri, Da Brat, DMX, Treach or Tretch. I always forget how to say his name. Do you know Naughty by Nature?
Tretch.
Is that Tretch? Yeah,
Tretch.
it's Tretch, like treacherous, right?
Tretch,
yeah. DJ Clue, Raekwon, Ghostface, and RZA, Fredro Starr, Sticky Fingers, Cannabis, Heavy D, Juvenile, Blackstreet, Boyz II Men, Mike Tyson, and Robin Givens, Mr. C, Busta Rhymes, and the whole Flipmo squad, and also Kirk Franklin. And I guess there's also an R. Kelly reference. Fuck R. Kelly. And he doesn't mention him by name, but he references it with lyrics. I haven't heard the song in forever, but
So he was on like Tekashi 6ix9ine shits before him.
dude, you know what's weird? Didn't he show love to Tekashi?
Yeah, he did.
That
Or he
kind of
has.
that kind of makes sense in terms of like energy of like let me call it everybody, because I think what ended up happening is he was, because there's like a whole thing, like he was signed, I think Jam Master Jay from Run DMC had a pretty influential hand in helping with 50 Cent. I could be tripping. And then Jam Master Jay ends up dying and getting shot in a studio, which is like unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Because when did that happen? He dies in 2002, and I believe 50's album comes out in 2002. That's pretty fucking wild. Yeah, because 50 Cent had that album I was mentioning, Power of the Dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Drops How to Rob, insults everybody. There's too much drama on this motherfucker. We can't really put this out. So then, I think it either like got shelved and leaked online, or it just eventually got non-released commercially.
Mm-hmm.
Then 50 Cent ends up dropping this mixtape called Guess Who's Back. I bet some people have seen.
That was my shit.
Yeah.
I fucked
You know that one. It has like some G Unit on it too.
Yeah.
Like Bun B, Nas. There's like a lot of people on that shit.
That one was good.
Then the one that got me was, and this is pretty fucking wild. Guess Who's Back comes out in May. 50 Cent is in the future. Comes out in June. 50 dropped this after he got dropped by Columbia, because I think he had another song called Ghetto Quran.
Mm-hmm, remember that one?
Yeah. It is, again, more wicked. I know we're going on 50 Cent tangent, but this is a hip hop podcast, and B, this is very interesting. I think I'm getting a reading from Wikipedia. It is rumored that the song Ghetto Quran and the subsequent music industry blacklisting of 50 Cent led to the murder of J Master Jay. Whoa, I didn't know that. That's what happens. I guess some guy named Supreme. Actually, I don't even know what I'm talking about here.
Did you read the 50 Cent biography?
No.
You should. I read that.
It sounds really interesting. I don't want to speak on a bunch of shit that I don't know about, so I'm going to not get too deep into like the street side of 50 Cent, because they would give me a lot of links. But it sounds like 50 caused some waves and was kind of, trying to get blacklisted by certain people in the industry, like, don't work with this guy. Then he drops a bunch of big mixtapes in 2002. Guess Who's Back, 50 Cent is the Future, and then No Mercy, No Fear, which is a G Unit tape. I think he also drops another G Unit tape, and then right in like the early turn of 2003, that's when Get Rich or Die Trying comes out. So it's like 50 in the late 90s is looking like he's gonna kind of be, maybe a bigger rapper, get some pretty controversial songs, kind of gets pushed back. Crazy shit happened. Jam Master Jay ends up getting murdered. Then Aftermath Shady signs him and drops a $9 million selling album after he gets shot, 9 times? Tell me that's not one of the most wild hip hop journeys ever.
Yeah.
Anybody, even especially anybody in Maine listening, if you want to quit, think about what the fuck 50 Cent had to go through, man. You go here in Maine, living a chill lifestyle, like just fighting winter and seasonal depression. 50 Cent could drop an album. Anyone could drop an album, man. That's fucking, to me, I mean, that's just parts of hip hop history that I'm just like, man, that's kind of crazy. We grew up in that.
Yeah, it's cool. The document, or the biography. I mean, like, I don't know if it was an autobiography. It might have been an autobiography, to be honest, but it was good. It came out when I was in high school. Yeah. I read it. Because
it's just like, 50 Cent was everywhere, man. G Unit, kids in Old Orchard Beach, Maine middle school were wearing G Unit clothing. Mm-hmm. Had no business wearing
G
that shit.
Sneakers. The Saco Middle School.
Had no business wearing G Unit. It's tremendous, man. So, yeah, I just want to shout out Get Rich or Die Trying, man. I think I've talked about this with a lot of artists, in like their later 20s, early 30s on the podcast about how important that shit is, but I just fucking love remembering. Like, I remember the first time I saw that album cover on the bus in 4th grade. The kids were just like going wild about it, and I was like, this is interesting. Like, my parents would never let this shit in my house. Alright, cool. Shout out 50 Cent, shout out some of the artists of your youth. This is an important question, because now we're getting into the DJing side of your life, Tylord. When did the idea of DJing start to form within you?
Well, my uncle, who I previously mentioned, He is always, he's DJ'd, you know, since I was young, you know, since I can remember. He had turntables, so he plays on vinyl, or, you know, can play on vinyl. So I watched him play a lot, and, you know, I had my exposure to all the hip hop, you know, through him, but, you know, through my mom mainly. And then he put me on to house music, you know, when I didn't think it was cool at all. Like, I might have, like, enjoyed, like, you know, some of the stuff, but
you weren't tapped in yet.
it was, like, you know, also when you're just a kid, like, you're into stuff that, you know, sometimes you're less likely to be, you know, you're into what you think is cool and what you think your friends think is cool.
Yeah,
you know, like open-minded
There's
about
more peer
stuff.
pressure
You know what I
and shit like
mean?
that.
But he exposed me to that young when I was young, and like, you know, honestly probably showed me how to like beat. You know, I'm sure he tried to show me how to beat match on his turntables, and you know, not like fuck up his needles and shit. But but you know, I had exposure to that, and you know, I just collected music, you know, for years. Like a lot of it, you know, when I was younger, was burning CDs, and then eventually, you know, CDs became hard drives, and you know, iPods and all that good stuff. But I really started when I was in like maybe my last year of school at USM, or like one of the last 2 years I was in school. And it was just like I had all this music. My roommate at the time bought a controller, and like we were just like, you know, fucking around and playing stuff, and it was like I had all of this stuff that I'd been collecting, and it was like, oh sweet, I can like manipulate this, and you know,
together.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like I kind of like started. When I started, I had like a lot of like stuff to work with.
You said it was in college, right?
Yeah.
What year do you remember? Was it?
It was 2000.
Or like what year? Like sophomore, junior?
It was like my. I was in school for 6 years, so.
Nice.
It was my 5th year. I feel like probably so.
More towards the end then.
Yeah, it was like 2015.
Hell yeah! Did you get to then do any sets on campus, or when did you really start to be physically DJing for people?
Flask Lounge was like my introduction. They have an open decks night every Tuesday, which I actually host now, which
Nice.
is kind of cool, full circle.
Yeah.
But yeah, every Tuesday they host this open decks night, and basically, you know, it's like open mic but for DJs. So going there, you know, you can sign up. You gotta sign up, I think, at like 8:30, and anybody can play, you know, half-hour slot. So that was my, you know, that's how I did it. Like that's how I got in, and I just went there repeatedly, you know, as much as I could. And
Remember like what year this was when you first started getting out there?
it was probably like 2016.
Nice. Were you living in Portland at that time?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. So you've been in Portland a good minute.
10 years.
10? Oh shit.
I moved here my sophomore year, so 2011. Yeah.
And you went to USM?
Yeah.
Were you taking a lot of classes in Portland at that point, or were you still going to Gorham?
Most of my stuff was in Portland. I just like, who the fuck wants to live in Gorham?
I mean, if you're trying to be on the art shit, like doing kind of music
if you
stuff
want
on
to
the
do,
reg.
if you want to do anything.
You said it, not me.
I mean, no disrespect, but it's just boring.
Yeah, I feel you. Like everyone's got their preferences. Like I got to be around shit myself.
Yeah.
What's the biggest change you've seen in like the past 10 years? Like in terms of like what area looks the most different? Because I mean, shit be changing heavy. Like obviously.
Oh, like in Portland?
Yeah. 'Cause
I mean, dude, though, I mean, just like, shit, the waterfront, like, I remember, I mean, I didn't come out a lot in the last year, like, downtown, because of the pandemic, but, like,
facts.
when I first drove back down, like, Commercial, and went, like, all the way down, you know, towards, like, the fucking IDEX building, like, I just was, like, tall-ass
Or the-
buildings I've
the
never
Wex
seen
building?
before. Yeah, sorry, not IDEX, Wex, yeah. Yeah, it was it's just crazy. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I always like find myself surprised when I go and I see something like that I've never seen before, but it happens all the time.
Yeah, yeah. It's just interesting to see how much the city changed, like
Hmm.
from other people's perspectives. Because I've only been here for 3 years, and I've already
Oh,
seen a
you
good
mean
amount of
like
change.
even you mean in like 10 years?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I mean that's not like forever, but I mean it's been a pretty transformative 10 years.
I mean
2011 was a little bit different.
a lot of restaurants and bars and clubs have come and gone.
Yeah,
Like it's
condos and shit.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of crazy to see all Mark's bars like gone now.
Yeah.
Like Tap House,
Yeah.
Pearl. They're
Oh,
all
dude, in terms of like, well, you speaking about like Commercial Street, especially, you have all these new giant brick buildings that are all
yeah. I
like,
thought you meant like recently. That's what I
no, just kind
was.
of like in terms of like the 10 years you've been here. But regardless of that, you bring up some good points. Just because to me, like, I just kind of had like a light bulb went in my head. I'm like, Ben, you gotta like remember like what's going on in life right now. Like, regardless of the pandemic, regardless of all like the fucked up medical and scientific shit, in terms of a business sense, the American business world from the top down has made this work for them a stupid amount. Like a lot of people be broke, a lot of local businesses be closing, and then you see like a lot of I'm not sure if all the places that have been built are national or regional, but you know all these big brick buildings are hotels and probably owned by groups and shit like that. So
Hmm.
you're seeing a lot of like big buildings get built in Portland that are probably from part or apart or from bigger entities. At the
Hmm.
same time, a lot of local businesses are closing because they can't handle it, and it's just wild to see like this symbolism of big. This is like again a huge phrase, but like big business, more chain owned, large entity owned institutions being able to thrive because they have so much power, and then you have a lot of local places. You get hit hard for 4 months when you can't pay rent. It's over, and
Yeah, I mean it's depressing.
no, it really is. I think it's just important to remember how sometimes bleak, like not to bring people down at all, but just like you got to be living in the truth and living in reality. And it's already hard enough to make it in America and be successful and have an independent business, but even more so now, like should be different now after this pandemic. If you're an independent person, but if you're part of a multinational huge entity, I mean you might have made money, bro. Like all I'm saying is you gotta take care of yourself out there. Like the real world is pretty intense, and remember that. Like, I'm not trying to make people sad or scared. I'm just trying to make you remember that. Like it's good to have a little bit of like shit saved up, whether that's resources, paper, finances. It's good to have multiple streams of potential revenue. It's good to know how to take care of yourself because just the real world be moving. The top down is gonna make its money, and people from the independent local communities can be kind of tough to endure a lot of shit. So just I'm looking out for you. I love you. Keep going.
Support local business.
Boom. Exactly. Um, well, let's pivot now to a more exciting part about life, and that is you getting your motherfucking kind of first official recognitions. Like you were doing your first sets, you had got some gear, you had a lot of music accrued. When did you really start to kind of feel like you were in a positive element and you were getting some good reactions? How deep into the DJing foray?
I probably played like exclusively at open decks for at least a couple of years,
Mm.
um, and then honestly, I think maybe the first like non-flask thing that I played at was a Gastro Go-Go event, like when the food trucks all went to different like breweries.
Mm.
There was one at Industrial Way, that I played out with my roommate at Battery Steel. Um, but that was like my first gig. I think it honestly ended up being like around my birthday too, which was cool. But
When is your birthday?
October 13th.
It's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta remember that. Get you a nice treat.
Bless.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first. That was my first gig, and then I started. I'm trying to think. After that, really, probably just more shows at Flask. I had my first like hosted show. Um, it was like the January before the pandemic, and it was a benefit for the Preble Street Resource
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Center. It was called Hot Chocolate, and my friends Grayson and Gray goes by, and Jay Lojai. We had a show where we collected winter clothing and things like that, like scarves and hats and coats and all that stuff. And it was like an unbelievable success. Like the most packed. I mean, I'm sure maybe it's been that full before, but it was hella full.
Yeah.
And we collected like 6 or 7 trash bags full of
That's so dope.
donated goods and like a couple $100. So yeah, that was really like incredibly fun, and we had plans to throw another one that spring, and then fucking COVID.
Well, good thing we got some things to talk about soon. I do want to say, was that event maybe on like January 21st?
Yeah, you're within a day or two.
Because I remember you did that on a Saturday, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And that was your first event you got to put together, and that was at Flask, right?
Correct.
I did an event on Monday at Flask, that following Monday.
Yeah.
And that was the first event I ever put together.
Yes.
So I remember I was talking to you at that time, like, dude, it's kind of wild. Like, in the same weekend, we both, like, got to, like, do some pretty dope shit at Flask. And my shit was pretty packed out, too, not to pat my own back. But you gotta, you know,
That's
you gotta
awesome.
speak the truth. Like you said, yours was, I remember I was there, actually, your event, and it was pretty packed out, too, then. And it was, like, you know, shoulder to shoulder, getting drinks and shit, and sweaty. Especially, you know, in, like, January, so you gotta dress cool.
Yeah.
And then, or dress warm, excuse me, but when you get inside, you want to stay cool. And I'm just like, damn, man, Tylord blew this motherfucker out on Saturday. We killing it on Monday. We blessed. So yeah, you really snuck. I felt so lucky. I don't know if you felt like this. I felt like I snuck in right at the last second. I was like, whew, I got like an event in, and now I can like know for myself more importantly, and even like maybe the community a little bit, or even just Flask, that like, yeah, we can bring bodies in. Like that's important to kind of just. It's a good feeling to have when you're trying to throw an event. You need to have that in a sense.
Damn straight it is.
Hell yeah. Well, congrats for that event. Shouts out to that. I'm gonna get more about the events you're doing towards the end again, but just I love that kind of energy and giving back to your community. Before we maybe start to pivot into the rapid fire questions and a couple other topics here, I want to maybe have you, to the listeners, describe your style in terms of what you play. You know, like does it differ depending on day and you know the exact set, or like how would you kind of describe your style as a DJ?
You know, I would say it can definitely vary to the setting, but I primarily play house music, dance music. I like to play tech house. I like to play Chicago style house. You know, a little jazzier
I've heard a lot of remixes
flavor.
too of like hip hop songs, pop songs, R&B songs.
I like to find, you know, tasteful edits and remixes of hip hop and R&B. You know, it's definitely like a wide variety. Like, I like to test out different things and see how people react, and then you know, go from there.
Yeah, respect. I've seen Tylord DJ quite a bit. Always a good time, always fun.
Thank you.
Always moving, and we get some things in the works someday. Who knows? Just throwing energy out in the universe. But yeah, shout out local DJs. You and Double Dessert have been on the show like within a month of each other. And I just remembered how important it is now that people are going out again. There's more like outdoor parties and sets and shit. Like you gotta remember, like if you go to a place and there's dope music and someone's playing it and you're enjoying it, that's not just like something that happens. People have to like know songs to play, know how to read a room, know how to read a crowd even, because you can almost like, you know, be in a certain venue and you'll have to play to the acoustics of it in terms of like, you know, reading a room. And then even in terms of like reading the crowd in the room is important too, because they're going crazy to, you know, I don't know, 110 BPM, some fun shit, and then you start playing, you know, some low tempo, low BPM shit, and people aren't moving as much, and you keep that vibe up. It's like you might have to pivot a little bit here, and it's important. I mean, I always say respect the producer, and then also respect the DJ. So there you go. Some of your flowers, in a sense. One thing too that you also do heavily in the hip hop world as a DJ, at least that I've seen you do when shows were around, is DJ for the mutual homie and your longtime childhood friend, B. All. How long have you known B?
Since he was born.
For real? 'Cause are your parents friends?
His mom and my mom were best friends. his mom was my babysitter when she was pregnant, and then
Wait, so you don't remember her pregnant, do you?
no, I'm just telling you.
That'd be
like,
pretty wild if you remember B as like
no.
cause what, you'd be like 2?
But like we lived in the same, like we grew up together, like, you know, in the same house. We shared a playpen and stuff. Because that, you know, they became, after being my babysitter, they became friends and roommates, and so yeah, he's my oldest friend.
That's so wild.
Mhm.
Main hip hop, you never knew who's connected.
Basically a brother.
Yeah, hell yeah. How did the DJ relationship start? I was kind of there at some of the shows, to be honest. Like, it just seemed very organic. That it was like no brainer. Like, Tylord is a good DJ. B needs a DJ.
Well, we you know, we were really tight growing up and listened to a lot of the same music. I feel like we even like shared like an iTunes account at one point. But he went off. You know, I went off to school. He went off to school, and
Yeah, because you were in Southern Maine and he was more northern, right?
and you know, we stayed in touch, but he kind of, you know, was taking off with his hip hop thing. I was, you know, just DJing as a hobby and you know, practicing, and I really feel like it was like a eureka moment where he was like, you know, yo, like this would probably like fucking work out really well together. So yeah, it was really like random. I think I think our first gig together was in Sugarloaf, for like some like college.
Was it the night before Aura?
It was, yeah, maybe, yeah. It was like back
The
to
Ja Rule
back.
show, we were there for that.
Yeah,
Chilling.
those were like back to back. I can't remember if it was like the day after or if there was like a little time between.
There was some back-to-back shows, I forget, because this was, I think, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Early 2019. And there was a show up in Orono, too, at the Slice Bar that you weren't there
didn't go
for.
to that one,
But
yeah.
you were there for the Ja Rule show, and I feel like that was the day before another show.
Yeah, it
I
must
could
have
be
been. It
tripping.
must have been the Sugarloaf.
And then we went to Be More together. And then I think you were also at the USM show in Gorham, right?
went to the USM spring concert, and then we also went to upstate New York. I'm trying to remember what the school's called.
Hamilton College?
Yes.
Because Goucher was the one in Be More.
Yeah, it
That was a long
Hamilton.
road trip. That was funny.
Yeah, that was
We all had that room and shit.
packed in, man.
Yeah, it was like a good 8-hour drive. That was the longest I've ever been up in a whip before, I think. Maybe. It might be the farthest in car I've ever traveled. Shout out that though. Shout out road trips. They're fun, man. You gotta go on a road trip
Road trips
sometimes.
are fun.
You gotta get out of your
Fucking love
self,
road
yo.
trips. Yeah.
I always say, like, I thought about this the other day. I drove to the White Mountains this weekend, and I was it's such a weird thought to have. I was driving back through Freiburg. I saw a Little League field, and I was like, if I wanted to right now, I could literally park my car and just like hit baseballs in this field. And it'd be so fucking interesting to be like imagine someone hits you like, hey, what are you doing today? Like, you know, because I live in Portland and shit. Like, oh, I'm out in Freiburg, like just hitting baseballs. Be like, what the fuck you doing all the way out there? Literally though, if I had to, I could be back in Portland in less than an hour from Freiburg. And Maine, A, is so funny because it has that diversity of locations and kind of vibes. But B, it just reminds me that it's too easy sometimes for me mentally, like, get stuck in my home or get stuck in my habits or get stuck in my routines where it's like, you wake up and you're like, I could get like a breakfast sandwich from the same spot I always go to and get like coffee from the same spot and like almost like just habitually like do things. Now sometimes if you wake up in a negative headspace, you kind of, at least speaking from my experiences, I just will go into my impulsive habits that make me feel good, sometimes without even like really concretely thinking about my emotional state, just to kind of distract myself. But sometimes if you wake up in a funk, you know what a good way to get out of that funk? Just change up a routine. Like sometimes you gotta lean into, I mean, everything in life is situational, but sometimes you gotta lean into your comfort zones. But sometimes also I think it's really healthy to be like, fuck it. What if I just drove out to Freiburg and hit some baseballs and then drove back? You could do that hypothetically, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
exactly. And it's not really about me pulling over in Freiburg and doing dumb shit. Just me remembering that, like, it's too easy to say, nah, I'm gonna just chill and not do anything. I'm gonna stay like at the crib today, or I'm gonna like just, you know, stay in the neighborhood, like. Almost like I don't want to try, like maybe even like a depression type vibe. You can do whatever the fuck you want, man. Like if you gotta drive an hour go on a little road trip somewhere, or just do some random shit in a random town you haven't been in before, do it. Fuck it. That's That's the point. Don't let life get too familiar. You know, shake it up, because every day is different, B. If you make, and you can especially make it that way. Speaking of B, before I move on from the Be All segment, is there any, like, this is a chance, you got any really funny, like, memory from the Be All childhood vault that sticks with you? If you're like, shit, man, like, if I had to, like, tell, like, a good wedding story or a good toast or something, man, there's gotta be something that you can tell. Sometimes you don't want to be spilling too much information.
I don't think I'm on if I tell this story.
Oh, here we go.
First time, I think I was in college, came home on a break. His mom was gone, you know, somewhere, and he had never smoked weed before, and I just started smoking weed like freshman.
You're 2 years older.
Yeah.
So he's still in high school.
He's like a year and change younger.
That's true. Oh yeah, because you're like
my birthday's only like a month after his.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I came home, and he's down, like, you know, I'm like, sweet, like, it's gonna be so fun, we're gonna fucking watch a Chappelle show after.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we go, like, walk around the block, like, I think I rolled, like, a blunt, and he starts, like, coughing up a lung, like, just, like...
What kind of blizzy was it?
Like, not, it was like a shitty zigzag, you know, rap.
Oh, so
like...
a rough zigzag.
Yeah.
First time smoking, of course you're gonna be coughing up.
And yeah, he's like not okay, and I'm like, oh shit, like his mom's gonna come home and I have to explain to her, like, I got him high for the first time, like he's all fucked up, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And like, you know, like 15 minutes go by, he was fine, and like we fucking watched the Chappelle show, and it was fucking hilarious.
That's so funny, man. Hey, shout out to that. You got the homie high for the first time.
It was funny.
Chappelle show. I remember once I was watching, you know that comedian Gallagher, who smashes, I don't know, I just took the mic away from me, who smashes watermelons?
No.
Oh, well, I really only remember him because of this Chappelle show sketch where he plays Black Gallagher, and he just says complete nonsense, and then he smashes melons. And I remember I was high as fuck at a friend's crib in high school, allegedly, watching this shit, and I was just like, dude, like, what the fuck's Chappelle talking about? He was like, I'm gonna butcher it. He pretty much was saying, like, blue tokens, green ham, yellow stars, that leprechaun's on acid. And then he smashes a melon, and I was like, what the it was so out of left field, it was so random, I didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. I remember I died laughing, bro. Like, one of those, like,
genius.
Early high memories where you can't stop laughing. So, that's a beautiful moment. Thanks for sharing that, Tylord.
Anytime.
We're going to unwind here very soon, promote some events, get some final questions. But before we do that, you down for a little rapid fire?
Sure.
Dream DJ set location.
Oh, man. Dream DJ set location. Probably like somewhere dope on a beach. Like a really good sound. So it's a really good sound system. So it's like loud still, you know.
Like almost like it's a professional concert, but it's on the beach in a sense.
Yeah.
That's a really good vibe, man. I respect that.
That'd be fun.
Somewhere in a warm climate.
Yeah.
Peaks Island, height of February. Fuck It Fest 2022. We're gonna start it. Favorite ice cream.
Favorite ice cream? Okay, this is gonna come out of left field, but I recently started getting ice cream at Sticky Sweet. It's like plant-based ice cream.
That's cool.
I thought I was gonna be like, you know, I didn't know how I was gonna feel about it. It's by far the best. It's on Cumberland Ave.
Sticky Sweet.
Sticky Sweet.
You heard it here first. What's a new hobby that you've picked up lately? You got anything?
New hobbies that I've picked up lately.
Maybe not like, you know, super lately, but like something in the past couple of years. Maybe.
Disc golf.
We gotta go still, bro.
I know.
I don't play that much, but I played a lot of frisbee with my dad growing up, like just tossing it. So I love throwing frisbees. I just like throwing shit. I don't know why. I'm very silly. Like I'm like a very simple man. I like throwing rocks at trees. Who doesn't love doing that? Throwing any kind of ball, throwing frisbee, just being outside in the sun and having some excuse to do something kind of like repetitive and fun. I like that kind of shit.
Disc golf's hella fun.
Disc golf is mad fun. I played last weekend and I'm not gonna front. I think I was under par.
Whoa.
At Pleasant Hill.
Whoa.
But I wasn't by much. I mean, Pleasant Hill, let's be honest, has some pretty easy pars too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like something like a par 5 or 4, and it's like, yeah.
Are you good? Are you good at putting?
Decent at putting.
Yeah.
Like I can, half the time hit like the important shots. I'd say.
That's good.
Yeah, but I lost my. I don't know. I'm getting into this. I'm not that passionate, but I lost my driver
In the water.
in the water.
Ooh.
Man.
They pull
First
them out
one.
there. They pull them out.
Yeah.
You just gotta wait.
I gotta wait. First one I ever lost, allegedly. So I feel. Well, actually, I lost the homies once. So the first one of mine that I ever lost. Anyway, what's an album that uplifts you?
An album that uplifts me. An album that uplifts me. Shit. I would have to say the Fugees, The Score. Just like,
Do you have that on CD?
I don't have it on CD, but that was just like
We might change that. You got a CD player in your car?
Yeah.
We might change that to We'll see. What about giving gifts? I'm trying to think of the last gift I gave. I know I gave. Not to interrupt you. I know I gave Sarah Violet a black vinyl. 6 LACK.
Oh, tight,
I
tight.
think it was East Atlanta Love Letter too, which might be his debut. Sarah, I love you. That's a really good gift. I hope you enjoyed that. It was. I think it was sealed too. I'm like, you know what? I never opened this. You should just take this. Because I'm about like downsizing and mentally like in the art of practicing it. I'll buy shit still like that. I really like matters to me. Like I like having some plants around. I like getting food for myself every now and then, treat myself. I just actually bought a new 4K TV recently because I haven't bought a TV since 2013. However, I bring up this point to counter it with, we don't need as much shit as we really think, and sometimes it's not about like the quantity. It's not quantity, it's quality what you have in your life.
Everything you have should bring you joy.
That dude, look at how much shit I got on the walls. And for instance, like you have to have well, you don't have to. You gotta do whatever you feels natural to you. Genuine, authentic life's important, but for me, putting in even minimal effort can have like a maximum effect on my self-worth and my self, I don't know, just self-confidence in a sense. Just showing yourself is the act of it is most important. And downsizing, giving shit away, being selfless is also a good thing for me because sometimes it makes me less possessive. So I gave Freddie, there's a dope New Jersey artist named Freddie Stone. He actually got a show in Congress Square Park, I think a week from Friday. He coming up here. Shout out Freddie. He liked Kanye West College Dropout a lot. Some guy from Mass at a record store I used to visit when I was down in college gave me a College Dropout DVD of all the music videos and behind the scenes footage. I had not watched that once. If I really cared about that, I probably would have watched it in my opinion. This is how my subconscious speaks to itself. Freddie Stone saw that and it was giddy. He's like, that's dope. I'm like, Freddie Stone, you're in Maine, that's your souvenir. Take that.
Nice.
Just because it's like, if that's going to give you joy over me, fuck it. That's how I view shit. Again, not to interrupt because that's a great answer, but I might have to settle a score with you myself in a sense.
No pun intended.
No pun very intended. Corny. Corny yourself. What's the last great meal you had? So we've had some dut together, my friend.
The last great meal that I had. I made this recipe last week that was really good. It was like a sweet potato. You bake a sweet potato, then you make like a mixture of black beans, corn, onion, red onion, cilantro. I think I might even maybe put some peppers in it. I can't remember. And you mix all that stuff up, with some seasonings like some cumin and chili powder.
Oh yeah, red pepper flakes, man.
And then
some garlic. You got some garlic.
Garlic was in there. Yep. And then put that on top of the baked potato. You cut it in half, put that on top, and then you top that with some guacamole. Shit was fire.
That sounds really good. A homemade guac. It was a little bit of lime, cilantro, black pepper in there. I'm not even gonna be crazy. You know what I might even do just to be extra dutty? I might make in a separate pan a little light garlic butter. Drizzle that on the sweet potato and then put the toppings on it. Because it's almost like, when I think of guac and a black bean, corn, veggie combo, it's almost like a Southwestern kind of inspired dish.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's almost like a deluxe baked potato. It's almost like a healthier version of those loaded baked potato skins you get.
Yes, it's
As-
vegan.
As an adult, I sometimes struggle saying words, and also as an adult, I'm looking for almost healthy alternatives that don't replace a meal. Like I'm not trying to replace baked potato skins. Like if I really want some, at some point I might go and get some. But I'm not trying. I try not to eat pork too much, to be honest, just myself, and I try to be like aware of like the even starches and what I eat and shit like that. And sweet potato is way healthier than the average potato, like a russet or a white potato. One of those, which is probably what you're gonna have for baked potato skin. And then you got bacon. Oftentimes you go to a place like B Dubs or some shit. That's a national chain, B. They gotta move shit in trucks and stuff, most likely. So you're eating like frozen, low grade bacon bit, which is probably like weird, shady, grown like in the dark pork shit. Which I don't know if I want that in my colon a lot. But if I would crave a dish like that, I would make what you would do, which would maybe hit some of the bites, but not the same taste buds. Like I said, you gotta almost compromise with yourself as an adult. It's important. You get me on these rants and tangents when I'm on the rapid fire questions, man. Who's a rapper whose next album you really want?
Rapper whose next album I really want. Freddie Gibbs. Or like Griselda.
And yes, dude.
I
Gibbs has
mean
got one
Conway the Machine, or Benny the Butcher. They're like fucking dope.
Freddie Gibbs' new album, I think, is called Soul Separately.
Okay.
Which is, I think, is a line he says on Education.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like something sucker free, sold separately. You know what I'm talking about? The Mos Def and the Yasin Bey and Black Thought song.
Mm-hmm.
I think too. He announced the.
I think he has like I think he has like multiple things recorded. I feel like he said.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He just did a interview recently, and he said he mentioned some of the producers on it because he did he had like some film in the Cannes Film Festival. Did you see anything about that?
Oh yeah, that he's gonna move into acting.
Yeah, well, it's interesting too. Like, it's about a rapper I think who starts to live on a farm or something. I forget, bro. I could be tripping, but I'm trying to find like the producers that he talks about for this album because there's some really really good credits that he has on this thing. I'm like, holy shit! Like this could be really really good. Allegedly, so far, I just lost it. Damn, man. Let me see if I can find it. I gotta keep talking so there's no dead air, but I don't really know if I can find out which artist he was talking about. I remember it was like people like Pharrell,
Cool.
Mike Will Made It,
Tight.
The Alchemist, Hit Boy, Madlib. Oh, here we go. Gibbs said this. I'm about to go work with Pharrell next week, Madlib, working on Dying, The Alchemist, Sven Thomas, Hit Boy. I just talked to Mike Will Made It. It's going to be the best produced album that I ever made, which says something.
Yeah,
Because
all those producers are fire.
Bandana's ill, Pinata, ill. Two Madlib albums. I don't give a fuck. Madlib's beats are untouchable. He's in a different tier from me. He's like a one of one. He's like a god of musical hip-hop production and just music in general. Then you have a lot of other good albums by Freddie Gibbs. Shadow of a Doubt has some clean shit. There's a lot of slappers. I wouldn't say it's like, ones I'm going to replay in terms of the production, more the energy.
Yeah.
Combined with the production on Freddie, for instance, that's a good one. I then go back to like Cold Day in Hell, BFK. There's some really great songs on those albums too, in terms of beats. And then shout out You Only Live Twice. There's some great tracks on that. Fetty, the Alchemist project with Currency too. That has some amazing production. So the fact that Gibbs is saying that, I'm pretty pumped. What's your ideal set length?
My ideal set length? I don't know. Usually when we do shows, we'll do like if we're doing solo sets, it'll be like a block of like 2 hours, and that's fun. It gives you like enough time to, slowly. I usually like not start too slow, but I like to take the energy and build on it, and having some time to do that is nice. Yeah, I would say if I had to pick 2 hours.
I like that. I asked DJ Double Dessert this. If you could only pick 3 artists to spin for a whole set, which 3 artists are you picking? I think, Tristan, you might have to help me with this, but I don't know if I remember. Megan Thee Stallion, 3 6 Mafia, and Freddie Gibbs. Does that sound right?
That is correct.
That's correct. You remember that?
If there were 3 artists that... Wait, hold on. You gotta explain that again.
Like, you're doing a 2-hour set of songs, 2 hours of time. Any BPM, any flow you want, doesn't matter. but the material that you're picking from can only be music that 3 artists made.
Oh,
You pick
okay.
3 individual artists or acts.
All right. I mean, this might go over some of the hip hop heads,
That's okay.
but there's this artist Demure. He's from Toronto. Incredible producer.
You gotta send me shit because I haven't. I know Canada can make some. I mean, K-Tronada, high classified.
You just got to the second one, K-Tronada.
He would be my first. If I had to, K-Tronada, you could play a whole 2-hour set with just K-Tronada B.
Yeah. And then a third. It's just so tough. For the third, I'd probably pick maybe Jamie Jones. He's another. He's from the UK maybe, but he's a really dope producer.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it'd probably be those 3. I'll send you some of Demir's stuff. He's like one of my favorites.
Hell yeah. I mean, K-Tronada. Like, if I was thinking, I might answer this too. I know I've been talking a lot on this podcast, but you know why? There's caffeine in this mint tea, B. I wanted to get the non-caffeinated shit, B. This makes so much sense. Regardless, I was gonna think K-Tronada. Missy Elliott pops in my head too, bro. You can get a crowd going with Missy pretty well. It's so hard, man. I don't even know. Honestly, like, it wouldn't just be songs he's rapped, produced as well, but Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
I can't go wrong.
you can't go wrong with it. Like, so many hits that he's produced are just dumb. Like, I'm not even gonna get into it because it's just too long, but there'd be something in that realm, like, so almost down south Timbaland thump, some house, electronic, dance vibe that K-Tronada can fulfill, and then just some classic hip hop, you know, like, because you can throw So Gone on a set. Because, would you correct me if I'm wrong? I'm not a DJ, but I like to think I know how to make a pretty good playlist and set list in terms of a function.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then you do want to play a slow down song in case people want to like catch up on a conversation, maybe go get a drink, go to the bathroom, and then kind of build it back up like within 2 more songs again. Would you say that's depending on the set? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, a lot of songs you can just because the BPM is at a certain level doesn't mean that the energy is at the certain level. So there are songs that are the same tempo but are the feeling of them is not as fast. It kind of like slows down. And I also like to mix like tracks like we talked about a lot of like hip hop influenced and edits and things of that nature. Often we'll have a breakdown in there where it might sample like a real like actual exact sample of the track, and that will give you kind of like a break for a second, and then it'll go back into the the house beat.
Hell yeah! Oh, you mean like whatever sample was you were using?
Yeah, like you might have like have like a Dr. Dre remix, and it like plays the whole, or actually a fucking 2 Live Crew one that's pretty dope. But anyway, it'll like play like it has like it samples the song over a 4x4 house beat, and then it'll be like a breakdown, and then it'll just like go into like a portion of the original track, and then
that always makes people amped up,
and people get hyped, yeah, because they heard the remix, they're like dancing, and then
this
like
is where it's coming
the
from.
Original shit comes out, they're like, oh yeah.
I relate to this.
But yeah, and that's also a easy way to give the people a break on the floor for a sec.
I like that. You heard it here first. DJ extraordinaire from Portland, Maine scene, Tylord, giving you helpful tips to make your function fire. Last one. Dramatic pause. Favorite concert you've ever seen?
Favorite concert I've ever seen. I mean, all for the hip hop podcast, I went to Rock the Bells in 2007.
Wow, they don't make. Hey, you're pretty young. That's
I was like 14, I
Yeah.
think.
That's like a huge festival.
It was like I saw Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Public Enemy, Wu-Tang, Doom.
You seen Doom live?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
I
Rest in peace.
saw.
Actually, yeah. Can we do a quick couple second moment of silence for MF Doom? I haven't done that on the cast yet. Moment of silence for MF Doom, real quick. Thank you. Was Nas at Rock the Bell?
He was, but I didn't. He wasn't there the day that I was there.
Oh, because it's a multi-day festival.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other, hip hop quote unquote legends, because that's a huge. I mean, that's someone you already mentioned some stupid names, B.
And Rakim. It was a crazy experience. I mean, I was like only 14, and we went down. We drove from. I mean, I went from Maine to Massachusetts. My uncle brought me, and we met up with like one of his friends in Mass, and we drove from Mass to New York, and we were literally in Times Square the night before the festival was starting. We had plans to sleep in Brooklyn at one of his friend's spots, and fucking realized we didn't have the tickets. They were in Massachusetts. This was like midnight before the festival, so we drove all the way back to Billerica, Mass. Slept, a couple hours, grabbed the tickets, drove back to New York. So we missed some acts. Like I might have been able to catch Nas at the fest, but he just had like an earlier set, so
Damn.
we missed some artists because of that. But I mean, it was still
a good story.
It
What
made
was that
a
drive
story.
like? Any,
Fucking awful.
no swearing, no anger.
It was tense. Tense.
That's a movie.
It was very
Bro,
tense.
That is a movie. We had Crab Man last week, high as fuck off edibles, with him and I talking about potential movie plots. That could be a great movie.
Yeah, it was like some fucking Harold and Kumar shit.
But it's almost like you have to tie it into Tylord's story. Maybe it's like some guys like, yo, if you can get in the festival at this time, I'll let you DJ for Mos Def or something like that. And then your homies that you're with who have the car, they're like, we want to go too, B. We bought tickets, but we let the tickets in Mass. You're like, no, like I gotta get to this festival. Like, nah, like you with us, you gotta go back. And it could be like this whole thing. You rush, and the third act is you getting to this festival right on time. Some little road trip hijinks along the way, and then you kill a set, and it's a hip hop show.
Got a template.
We got a movie here, yo. I think we got like a Benny's Crib movie studio. Hit me up. We're taking cryptocurrency, come through. We'll bounce ideas off each other. Just pay a small consultation fee, and we'll get some fucking ideas. Speaking of ideas, I love the idea that you have going on this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up is going to be Saturday, August 8th.
7th.
7th. It's true, it's 4 days away. Oh, it's already Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, baby. That's dope. The 7th. It is going to be similar to the past event you did for Prebly. You're going to be taking in donations and resources to help, I think, with more like back to school vibes that are going to, and supplies, not just vibes, supplies and utilities and things of that nature that are going to a local youth organization.
Yes, I'm hosting an event at Flask Lounge. It's called Extra Credit, and it starts at 9, goes till 1, and it's another donation drive where, as you mentioned, we are collecting K through 12 school supplies to donate to, children in need in the community. There's a $10 cover fee, or you can donate things like pencils, pens, backpacks were like an important thing for the organization. Binders, erasers, pens, you name it. We've all been to school.
Highlighters.
Reinforcements
for your binder in
White
case your
out.
paper rips.
But yeah, you can donate, in-kind items like that for your, entry, or it's $10, which we'll be donating, half of to the organization as well. And
Don't be a bozo and bring like a fucking eraser cap and think you can get in.
Yeah. I mean, you can. Yeah.
You know, you don't have to spend exactly 10, I would imagine, but bring some fucking things. You know,
Yeah.
show some respect. Because, in my opinion, I just want to give you one more, I guess, small bouquet of flowers. Not to gas you up too much, but just I like to celebrate these types of ideas and these events because these are the types of events and ideas and energy I think that we need in the community, man. Especially what I was bringing up earlier, how like national influence, even in a local place like Portland, Maine, is becoming more prevalent in terms of real estate and buying power and shit like that. And local stuff got hit pretty hard by the pandemic. So when you big up your community, when you when you can create like a positive impact and put it on a dope function at the same time, that's just like a really cool, important thing, I think.
Thank you.
Like you have people dance, have people have fun, have a couple drinks. Who's judging you? But at the end of the day, it's like Saturday morning, we gonna get rowdy. We gonna spin some shit. Who is it? Dumay? What's that artist name?
So my guest artist,
not Nicotine. The artist you said.
Demure.
Demure. Play some Demure.
Mm-hmm. You'll hear him on Saturday.
And then Sunday though, you gathering shit up, and you already know you're gonna be proud of what you've done. Hopefully, so.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm having Nicotine as my guest DJ. He is an old friend. I met him through my uncle. They go back, and Nicotine used to own a record store called Earwax on Congress Street at like the bottom of Montjoy. So I spent a lot of time there when I was younger, hanging out in his shop with my uncle.
Gotcha.
So it's cool to have him come spin with me. Yeah, he has you can imagine someone owning a record store, the diversity in music that he has. So it's always fun to hear him spin. He always has just like dope tracks that you will never come across otherwise if you're not there. And yeah, he plays a lot of different genres. He's really good at mixing between genres and making it sound really good all at the same time. So very excited to have him on.
That's a beautiful thing. Anything else you want to promote, yo? You gonna be somewhere else on Friday, maybe?
Friday night, I'm gonna be playing at Citrus with Last Minute Zach.
That's a new spot, correct?
Yeah, Citrus opened a month ago. I played there for the opening weekend, and it was nutty.
Where is it for the people who do not know?
One City Center.
Right, kind of at the bottom of Free Street, where it intersects into Temple, I think, almost.
Yeah, it's like, across the street from the Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
It's where MJ's Wine Bar used to be. But great atmosphere in there.
Yeah, that bunk-ass Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
That should be a local coffee shop. If you're asking me, I'm just saying things, but regardless.
But, yeah, it's a really great vibe in there. They serve really good drinks. It's just, it's my favorite, newest, like in terms of new venues in town, it's probably my favorite.
I haven't peeped it. I gotta check it out. Shout out Citrus for booking you.
Yeah, I'm so hyped to be back there, and I've never played with Zach before, so that's gonna be fun. We're gonna play, house and dance music, more funky, disco-y vibes.
Get the people dancing, yo.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good time though. So yeah. Double header this weekend, Friday and Saturday.
Let's go, Tylord. Music is back. Be safe out there. Be smart. Get your fucking shots and shit, but go and have some fun. Well, let's pretty much wind down with some final questions to top off and finish the podcast here, to finish the interview. What's something you're excited for right now? On a positive note. I mean, it sounds like maybe these shows.
I'm really excited, to be getting, bookings, after the pandemic shifted to the live streaming for a while, and, that was fun, but it's, you want to play for people, like real live.
Dude, I almost
in your
forgot
face people.
how important that is. I don't know if you felt that way, but like being out and about again, I was like, I forgot how much this shit affects me in a positive way.
Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, I'm really excited about the future and what it holds for spinning, because things are starting to come alive again.
Hell yeah. Love that. Where can peeps reach you? Any contact, socials you want to put?
Tylord _207 on Instagram. It's probably the best place.
You do events,
Do events, parties,
bar
hit me
mitzvahs,
up.
funerals, celebrations of life,
Yes.
food truck openings,
You name it.
photography conferences.
I'll play in your coffee shop.
Good one. That's a good one. You places like Jewel Box too. Those like little like pop-ups. I like those a lot. Sweet. Before I ask you your final question, is there anything else you want to plug or say?
No, man, I don't think so. I mean, I guess shout out to all my friends that are crushing at DJing right now. Drewski, Meech, fucking Fatty, Stardust. Yeah, I got a lot of homies. All my homies are DJs, and they're all killing it right now. So shout out to all y'all, and the ones that I didn't mention. I didn't forget you.
Just forgot the names. It happens. I always be that. Like if I do shout outs, don't ever take it personal that you ain't in the shout out. Because sometimes you get that FOMO if you don't hear your name, but I didn't like that. It's hard to remember a bunch of names. Allegedly THC, allegedly mint tea. It can be tough.
It was my mom's birthday yesterday. Shout out, Mom.
Shout out to moms. I actually got a call from my mom during a quick break in this podcast. I called her right back. That's how I do it, I guess. Sometimes you be professional, sometimes you gotta be there for your fam. Regardless, Tylord, you ready for your last question? I'll ask this to everybody, don't forget it, so it's important. Where will Tylord be 1 year from now?
I don't know, probably hopefully playing more frequently. I mean, I'm hoping maybe a year from now I have my own residency somewhere.
Rolling Loud.
And yeah, I mean, maybe some more like out of state stuff, maybe getting on some like festival lineups, not big ones, but regional ones. Yeah, I don't know. Sky's the limit. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing and hope for the best.
Just getting out there and living that authentic life, yo. Being you.
Indeed.
Hell yeah. Well, Tylord, it's been a tremendous podcast. I just realized I haven't looked in the camera at all during this podcast. I've been staring at you. Making sure I'm in the interview zone, man.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. Tristan, shout out Tristan.
Shout out Tristan.
Shout out Yardy Ting for sponsoring this episode, and shout out. I got the Yardy Ting shirt on right now. Shout out Nick Genizio. I love his clothing. Shout out. What's one more I want to do? Oh yeah, shout out Soto for the instrumental on this podcast. I always forget to shout him out.
Oh fuck yeah! Shout out Soto.
Soto did the beat for this podcast. If you ever want to know who made the intro, that's Soto. And that's this. Benny's Crib. Thanks for dealing with our beautiful rambling. Shout out Life, and we'll see you next week. Peace.